are now checking out
the Win Podcast,
where the everyday people
are the celebrities.
So let's get to know them.
Hey everybody, this is the Win Podcast and this is Alexandra, also known as Spiritual Cloud here. So I've taken over the Win Podcast. Win has retired and he's tired of interviewing people. And today I'm interviewing a very special guest whom you all know and hear all the time. I'm pretty tired of his voice. A wonderful human being, a wonderful spiritual person, actor, comedian, producer of his own one-man shows, musician, guitarist, Rick Herrera.
Hey, want to say for the record, I'm a huge fan of this podcast. This is the only podcast that I listen to. The other podcasts, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. But this one, hands down, one of my favorites.
Thank you.
So when you see Win, can you let him know?
Of course, I'll let him know.
Cool.
He's home, so
nice.
I'll tell him. So I want to start off with how we met, which I think a lot of people know. But I'm gonna do my description of how we met, my personal view. So we met at Victor Cruz's Tree's acting class.
Yep.
And ever since then, you would just after my booty. So I'm like, get off me. Can you just get off me?
Very true.
After that, you came into the spiritual circle. We see the same spiritual teacher, Guru Enlightenment. And we became spiritual brothers and sisters. And from then on, you just didn't stop hounding me. And
Nope.
Ever since then, I'm grateful that I finally took you out of the bro zone and we're together now as a team in all aspects. So it's an honor to be able to interview you and to work with you in this podcast as well. I am enjoying it and I hope you are too.
If you can just send a text to Win and let him know that this is like one of my favorite podcasts.
Repeat yourself over and over.
No, but that's pretty much everything in a nutshell. How we met was the Victor Cruz acting class every Tuesdays from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can go to victorcruzactingstudio.com and find all information there. No, but we met. Yeah. That's what I remember. I remember you from that class, from the acting class, and then seeing you all the time through the spiritual family and the spiritual.
You even came to my house.
Yeah,
I had a gathering.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh. It was your birthday, actually. I remember.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. That was the connection there, and then a
long time ago.
It's about 7 years.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get started, and the first question I have for you is, who are you? But my question for you is, who are you, the person that people don't see on stage?
I'm an actor. I'm a comedian. Singer, writer, performer. Those are like, I guess, like the creative side of me. The deeper side of me is spiritual. I'm humbled, very caring, deep. Let's see. I think for me, there's many layers that I'm also getting to know myself as I continue on in this, journey. So, at the end of the day, I think I'm but I'm a person who really loves having a good time and really loves music, connecting to good people that have good intentions as well, and creating. I'm really enjoy life, and I also have my moments, a lot of moments that I like to, be to myself and be alone. I like to think a lot, about life. So I'm a big ass sancocho. Because sancocho has many.
With what flavors?
Everything. Like I have so much about me that I'm learning. Like next week I might learn something new about myself that I may put into that pot. So I'm just a huge ass sancocho of life. I have so many layers to myself, and that have a lot of great qualities, and I have a huge heart also. So yeah, sorry for that long-winded thing, but it's like a big, it's a universal question that you have to dig into, and you know what I tell you right now.
To change next week.
Next week will be
year.
add on next year,
Yeah.
and even next week, you know.
Not change, but you add more to the sancocho.
Yeah,
more
so I'm
seasonings.
a huge sancocho of life.
Yes, you are. So with being the huge sancocho of life, how did you come about being this huge sancocho of life? Like ever since you were a kid, were you somebody who always thought, who loved music? Like what were things that inspired you to the things that you are up to where you are now?
I always had a huge imagination because I grew up pretty much. I was the baby, so I was the last one. My mom had me like at 42 years old, so I felt like I grew up alone. You know, I didn't have any other younger kids around me to connect to as of yet. Even though school was there, but before school kicked in, it was just me and my imagination. I could just remember being in my underwears and like going in my mom's like closet and taking like a broom and using that as like almost like a gun and creating stories. And like the living room will have lava and I'll have to jump on the couches and stuff. Like there was like I used my head so much. So I remember the creative side was always there for me. I would have a blast with myself, and I would be winded. Like I'm like, oh man, I just did this mission and I'm done. Like I'm pretty much good to eat dinner and then go to sleep. And then tomorrow will be another mission that I have to do. I don't know what. And then the next phase to that was music. I could always remember, going into my mom's records and just listening to Hector Lavoe, Four Tops, old merengue cuts, Johnny Ventura, like all those. She had all those records, and I would just put that on, and literally I would be at the speaker with my ear to it, and just being lost, listening to all the old sounds. And then my uncle would recommend like these oldie stations, and I would fall asleep to that, and
that's wonderful.
I would wake up to it, and I'll be by that speaker again, just listen to it. And then the other phase was one of my best friend Carlos from the block. He was like the brother that I kind of like wanted because we was at the same age. So we discussed a lot of things from like, having fun in the park, playing basketball, wrestling. So he gave me the other side of like, oh, I like connecting with human beings as well too. So it all started from very, very young, knowing that like all this stuff is fun, and then doing it in high school and school and getting in trouble for always cracking jokes and all that stuff. But I didn't know there was, I guess, a profession for that or a career.
Yeah.
And using your imagination or creating. And
your playground was at home. You really didn't go outside and do all these things.
No, because my mom was so scared of everybody in the world that they was gonna harm me and only me.
But your name, where you grew up, right?
I grew up in Brooklyn, Brownsville, so the neighborhood wasn't... She had every right to feel that way. The neighborhood wasn't all gardens and everyone coming down for a loaf of bread and asking you okay. It was a mixture of both, I would say.
Were you scared in that neighborhood? Like when you
Of course. In the beginning, of course, I got robbed there. I got beat up there. So,
wow. How old were you when you got robbed?
I was like 15. It was stupid. But
what happened?
I went inside my building. And the guy said, I got the ratchet on me. Do not fuck with me. I'm just going to take whatever I want. And literally, I only had like $2 in my pocket. And like Blistex, a little like a thing from my... And he didn't want it. Yeah, exactly. And then he took the
Blistex because it's chipped lips.
Nah, he left it alone. He went for my chain. He took my chain. Oh. He took my rosary gold chain that my mom got me or whatever. He just took that, and then I remember I told my mom I wasn't so much shocked about it because I'm like, you know what, I've been here for 15 years. That's not bad. I was like, that's not bad. That's a good ratio. In 15 years, my first time. There's other people my age already got robbed 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm a newbie. Like I should have got robbed years ago. Like damn, I'm as slow as like I'm slow at this. Like,
you lucked out.
Yeah, I lucked out. I was definitely a late bloomer when it came to getting robbed.
In your building.
Yeah, so I wasn't shocked. I just went upstairs and, hey, Mom, I literally woke. My mom was like, what's wrong? I was like, I got robbed. She's like, what? Who? What? Where? I was like, downstairs or whatever. Yeah, I remember detectives coming in. She called the cops.
Oh, I was going to ask you, did she call the cops?
Yeah, she called the cops. Detectives came or whatever.
And they didn't do shit?
No, they said, look, we got the cameras downstairs, so we're going to see who it is. The funny part is that...
The cameras actually work downstairs?
Yeah, the funny part. But here's the thing, like, you just got to watch out who you're pressing charges on if they ever find him. I got to live in the house, so...
Yeah.
So, the funny part, I ended up seeing him a couple times around the way.
No!
That's the funny shit.
And what did he do? Like, he remembered you, or?
He didn't really look at me. Like, he didn't really look at me or whatever. Like, and I was...
Did you want to go to him like, you took my chain?
I was ready to get robbed again so I could punch him in his face. Because, honestly, I was like... I saw him a couple times, and all my boys would crack jokes with me. It was like, how you get robbed and you see him, like, every day? So it was, like, almost like a Debo type thing. Like, you see him all the time. But I was ready to fight him again. Like, not again, but fight him. I was like, you ain't gonna take my $2. You ain't taking my Bliss X, and you ain't taking my chain. But he just looked the other way, so... Did
that anger you? Like, you knew that your environment was like that, but were you... Like, after that, were you scared? Were you angry? Or you were just like, it is what it is?
One, the reality of it, this is the neighborhood I'm in. This is the reality of it. And, I can get shot, I can get killed, I can get robbed. There's nothing, you always got to look over your shoulder. That environment taught me, there's a lot of great people in that environment too, but it also taught me how to be street smart, and, to always be aware, of your surroundings and people who you're communicating with. So that was one side of it. The other side of it did hurt me a lot because I was always a friendly person. So it hurt me. It affected me in a way that, like, wow, why is this world like this? Why in this world there's so many people that can do so many cruel things? And I think for me, doing comedy, making people laugh was my interest to let people know, hey, I'm a good guy, I have a good heart, and let's just laugh, and that's how I made friends with, like, gangbangers, drug dealers. Like, I never saw what they did or what they do. I just saw the humanity in them, and I'm like, let me make you laugh so you don't fuck me up. So so I just that type of stuff affected me in a sense, like, wow, this fucking world can be so cruel, and I that's one aspect that I always felt like, when I came down to start a journey, is like, that's something that I didn't want to experience, like the harsh, the cruelty of people. I just always wanted to see the good stuff too, and let's all be together. Like, so whenever that things happen to me or other people, I get down because I don't like seeing or hearing those things. I'd rather everyone just be united, together. Because it doesn't have to be that way. I know that is one way of being, but you don't have to be that way. Like, my hood, I have stories that are, sad, but there's other sides. Like, man, the block parties when we used to kick together. We have a great time. We riding bikes with everyone, playing basketball. Like, there's so many good memories there too. So, I just wish it can be. I saw what the community can be if we all was just like that every day. It doesn't have to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday bad, then Thursday, Friday good. You know what I'm saying? It could be that
all the time.
Almost all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's great. So coming from, you mentioned, we all know that you love to make people laugh and comedy, but music, I feel like from music was one of the first things as you were a kid that inspired you. And with music, I want to talk about the guitar. I know you love the guitar, you play the guitar, you connect with the guitar very well. What was it that brought you to that connection with the guitar, and what did it give you?
The guitar came to me when me and my mom went to church. We used to go to the Spanish church, and that shit was whack because they didn't have music. The black church, black mass, man, that was the shit. Like, I was in there like, this little loud amount. Like, I didn't care about the message they were saying, but they could sing. It was like a party.
And when they were singing, they were sending a message.
Right, but I heard the rhythms of it, the dancing. I was like, we gotta go to the black church all the time, Mom. Like, fuck this whack ass Spanish church and the white mass. It's just whack. They're not.
The English mass.
Yeah, it was whack. It was whack. There was no. It was mad. There was no flavor in the white mass. There was. And there was no sazon in the Spanish one. They didn't have sancocho like you. No, they didn't. They didn't have no sazon in the Spanish, but the blacks had everything. The black, the mass in there was just so powerful, man. It was just, I loved it. So that music there was great, right? Mm-hmm. So there was one time, and my mom was like, because it started. This is not even a joke. The black masses did start late. It started it was later on in the day,
that's why they're
at
all
1 p.m., 1:30 or whatever. My mom is up early, so she's like, no, I'm not gonna do that anymore. Blah blah blah. And I was like, that's whack. So we went to the Spanish one again. So when we went to the Spanish one again, there was a guy there with a guitar. I was like, what he's about to do? Because I hope he is not singing some whack ass songs with this guitar. He started playing, and I remember this was the first song he was playing with Santo, 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 but it was building up. I was like, okay, they put song to that. Okay, they got song to that. All right. So I'm like, and I just remember being mesmerized by him playing and singing, and I was like, oh man, that's so dope. Okay, I don't mind this Spanish church now. Mm-hmm. And then I went probably maybe 2 or 3 more times. And the guitar just spoke to me. And I was like, I don't know what he's playing. I know what he's playing, but I want to play it. And I think at one point my mom tried to ask him, if he could teach me or whatever. I think he was busy or something like that. But already, that moment already installed, I need to get a guitar. That everything, there was a strong feeling to it. Then listening to the music and noticing the guitar parts, he basically told my mom, I want to get a guitar. I want a guitar.
So did your mom get you a guitar, or?
My mom was the first person to give me a guitar. Oh. It was a lot of, what's that called? Negotiating and bribing. One, we didn't have money like that. Guitars cost $300 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, but I kept on being persistent. I'm going to do it, because the biggest thing was I'm not going to buy you something and next week you're not going to use it no more. Yeah. Plus you're playing video games. I'm like, no, I'm going to play. And says, then I got to put you in classes, blah, blah, blah. So after being so persistent, and to this day, my mom, she was the type of person that, she gave her kids anything. And, I always say, we grew up poor, but at times it didn't feel like it, because we had the love, and we also had, my mom was sacrifice her stuff to not buy to give to her kids. Mm-hmm. So if I wanted a guitar, I may not be the first one to get it, but probably a year down the road I will get it. It's because
and you have to earn it too. It's not like now people just get things.
I didn't get the PlayStation when it first came out, but I got it a year later. But my mom was making sacrifices to take away from herself to give to her kids. Mm-hmm. So my mom was the first person to give me that guitar. I remember it was a black and white, and it was a Squier Telecaster. Wow. And I bought it off a music. I went on Google. I went to Musician Friends. I was like, Mom, look, I found one here for $300. You get an amp, you get all this stuff. This is the perfect thing, whatever, blah blah. And my mom was the first one that ever,
Well, they had the whole setup.
They gave
so
me
how
the guitar.
did you? So you got the guitar. So what happened? You had a teacher. What?
I got the guitar and I just started, messing around with it, and then I was discouraged in the beginning because, of course, you realize quickly that you're not going to sound like the people that you see right off the bat. It doesn't work that way. You got to work at it. So from there, I remember my father was around at that time. He kept on being persistent too with my mom, saying that you got to put him in class. He's not going to learn on his own. He's not going to learn on his own. And I was down to take class. My mom took me to a couple classes. She paid for a couple classes around the way to this teaching school. Mm-hmm. And that gave me the foundations of stuff. But prior to that, before the classes came, I was teaching myself a little bit. And, at that time, looking back, I was connecting to a past life, because the guitar did come to me quickly. Fast in a sense. And then when I met the teacher, he says, how long you been playing? And I would tell him I only played this amount of months. He's like, wow, it seems like you've been playing longer. So he was kind of breaking all these things that I taught myself. After we couldn't afford classes anymore, I learned from other people, my friends around me. There was another Greg, was another guy who lived around the way. He was a guitarist. Mm-hmm. Mr. Bertoldis from high school took the time after school to teach me a couple things.
That's amazing.
So all my knowledge became within myself, connecting within myself, and teachers that I met and other people that play. It was all
so you have people in your life who gave you so it was everywhere.
Everywhere. A book, watching on YouTube. It's all cumulative knowledge, learning a little bit from everywhere and try to add it to how I play. So everybody had a little piece in teaching me,
What does the guitar give you when you're in that moment playing the guitar? Like what does it give you that nothing else does?
The guitar gives me truth. The guitar gives me peace. The guitar is very therapeutic for me. It de-stress me, if that's even a word. Like it allows me to take my stress away. It allows me to escape to a different world. There's so many. The guitar was a friend that would never leave me. And I realized that early on that no matter how I felt, this thing will always be there for me. It would never go away. The only person that would leave it is me, but it's a true friendship. Like it's always there for me. It's always there to hear me out. It's not judging me. The guitar gave me so many messages. And in the beginning, the biggest thing that it gave me was to escape reality. From the time that me and my mom was clashing a lot, me and the world was clashing a lot, me clashing with myself, the world, the guitar provided a different world. It was almost like, how Guru says, like, it's like we come from up above in our homes and stuff like that.
Yes, it's like you were going back home.
Right, yeah. Basically how I was going back home. It showed me this other world. And then the best thing is when you get lost in that. I could stay for hours and hours and playing, and there's just something so beautiful what a guitar can do if you're open and allow it, or any instrument or music in general.
Similar to when you were on stage as well.
Absolutely.
Doing your one show.
Absolutely.
Talking about, you mentioned earlier that you connected with the guitar because of past life. And I know that your guitars, you name them, but there's one in particular that you connected with, and it was connected to your past life. Can you give a little bit of a story about that?
The white, there's a couple of them. There's the white one, and there's Truth, which is the acoustic. And
then you have Rosetta.
Right, but that's the
white one.
That one,
yeah, the white one.
Well, that one I connect
to connect with your past life. How did you know? How did you find that out?
Well, that one I will share a little bit about that because I don't share too deeply about that because that's
just
something.
A little bit.
That one is something that I always want to cherish. Was just for me, like that's like the most wonderful, like the biggest treasure that I unlocked. That I reveal in certain amounts because the rest of it,
it's
that
for
treasure is for me.
Yeah,
because that was something that was so dope. So, the white and gold guitar Rosetta. So she basically, how did she come in? I always wanted a white and gold guitar. I remember, or white guitar. I remember that, and I went to Guitar Center, and all my guitars, whenever I picked them out, they are based on feeling and what I felt with them when I grabbed them and played. I don't ever have to play something spectacular. It's just this feeling that I get, when I play it. I was like, it's something. It's a connection. It rings in my body. So I remember I picked her up, I played her, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Like I just felt this great connection. I gotta buy this guitar. And every time I go to Guitar Center, there's never a sale. But somehow I end up getting a sale. That's how I know it was meant for me to get it. So the guitar, wasn't a sale, but I always I speaking to the Guitar Center, I was like, hey, I've been here a couple times, blah blah blah. Long story short, they end up knocking it down for like another like $60-$70. And I was like, yep, this is meant. So I take her home, and I'm think it's awesome, and I'm playing it. And probably like a couple weeks later, I opened up the guitar case, and there was like a lipstick kiss on the guitar, literally on the edge of it. and now I kiss all my guitars when I
Was
play
it
them.
when you had makeup on that time?
No, I didn't. Not at all. So I stopped wearing makeup years ago. So no, but I looked at it and I'm just like, this is weird. I kiss all my guitars, right? I don't have makeup on my lips, but I kiss all my guitars when I open them and I put them to sleep, saying goodnight or whatever. And I'm just looking at this lipstick stain, and I'm just like, I had a girlfriend at the time, like, she would never kiss my guitar. I was like, there's no reason why she would kiss my guitar. She never opened my guitar. So I'm like, this is weird. And I remember just looking at it and looking at it. Then I like took it off, and I was like, nah, this is weird. And then I took it off. I wiped it off. Mm-hmm. And then my mind started going. I started thinking of these pictures that kept on popping in my head that, you know, that my friend sent me, my spiritual sister sent me, and from there I made a connection, and of who I was, and I started crying, and I was like, oh snap, it's you. And then I, you know, spoke to Guru, had a conversation about it. I laid out all the information to her. He says, yeah, that was you in your past life. And I was like, I knew it. So yeah, that's the story of the white guitar.
That's great.
And then every other guitar, you know, they have a connection. I feel they have a connection of who I played with them in the past life. Those guitars I played with.
You played with in the past
life. And it's life. And it's funny because, you know, I made the connection.
Did you always believe in past life, or this was like this was like the stamp of approval of, yo, this shit is.
I never knocked it. I'm just like, okay. I mean, you know, before I met Guru, like I was, you know, like let's say when Guru brought it up about past lives and us, you know, living different lives.
Yeah.
I was open to it. I never knocked it. Never. Even before I met Guru, I was like, well, who knows?
That
you know,
exists.
I mean, yeah. I mean that could be cool. Like if we was Chinese in another life, or we was a different person in another life. I'm like, I always was open to it. I was like, yeah. I mean, I was always say I don't know how you're gonna get proof or whatever. I didn't need the proof, but I was like, I've been very lucky and fortunate for me to find, you know, connections like that, and to be like, yeah, you know, and for me,
and you're really open and spiritual too. So
to me, the biggest one, you know, prior to Rosetta was me making the connection that I played a guitar in a past life.
Gotcha.
You know,
exactly.
And this was even before I met Guru. Like, I would joke around like, I don't know, I'm in the past life or whatever. I just probably like played, and by me saying that, the more I believed it, because the more I would see other people pick up the guitar and how they struggled with it, and I would look back on my life and be like, wow, I struggled with the guitar in certain elements, but it came very quickly. Like it just came to me, and you know, learning through Guru and stuff like that, it confirmed it even more. I was like, oh yeah, this guitar was always around me. The guitar, music, whatever it was, creating was always around me.
So you have this music, and you have your comedy and your acting, and you built, you know, everybody knows you have the Naked Truth and Still Naked, and you build this one-man show for you. With all that you've done for yourself, what are some challenges that you faced in order to be able to make that happen for yourself?
Well, the biggest challenges, like, you know, was me, you know, believing in myself that I could do it. You know, that was always something that, you know, came up in my life. You know, can I do this? Being very insecure. I was very insecure with my singing. And at times I can, you know, if I don't do it a lot, some of those feelings will come back, but I'm more in control of that now, that I know that's always that negative side of you that is always going to test you and say those things. For me, it was always believing in myself that am I able to do this? Am I capable of doing this? And then me finally, like, really getting up on that stage for the first time, you know, that was like the confidence that was building within myself, knowing that, like, oh man, like I just made someone laugh. I made people laugh. I'm playing guitar, so yeah, I could do it. Those biggest challenges, man, was really me getting in the way of myself, getting in the way of myself with all my baggage that I had, you know, because.
And you said a lot of honest, truthful things on stage, being that you like to keep to yourself outside of the stage. Was that also difficult for you to be able to be like, wow, I'm gonna be naked on like I'm literally the world's gonna know what's been going inside my little room when I was growing up?
For me, it was,
Did you always want to tell that story, or?
I mean, I always wanted to do a one-man show. The moment that I saw like John Leguizamo and stuff like that, especially after college, that's something that I always wanted to tackle. I always wanted to do something that was mine and my own. I always said, like, if I would have did this show prior to Guru's lessons and teachings, the one-man show still would have been good, but it would have been very angry. It would have been very one-sided. Learning through Guru and her teachings, I learned a lot about myself, my family, learned to let go. So therefore, I gave you the character arc where he changed. Something happened to him. He snapped in a good way where he's learning from this and letting go. So it was something that I always wanted to do, but it wasn't ready until I started working on myself, seeing Guru, having those one-on-one sessions. And then, the comedy got even better. The acting got better. My life in general got better. And then what I was presenting, got better because now I'm facing myself. I wasn't so much afraid to put that on stage. And, I would tell Guru that I wasn't afraid to make fun of myself. And because even from young, I was fine with that, making fun of myself and, put it down on talking about myself. I wasn't so much ashamed of that. I was nervous and afraid of how my family was going to receive that. That always been a red flag for me. What I always think, what are they going to think? What are they going to say?
It's always the people that you're closest to.
Right, because not only am I telling my story, I'm also telling their story too a little bit. And I'm also talking about how they, affected me in certain things. So I only have about an hour or an hour and a half to tell this story. And I don't want to paint them in a bad light, but I don't want to paint them in just a good light because I'm not painted only in bad and good as well. I'm painted in both scenarios. So I just hope that they stood with me to the beginning to the end. Yes, I want them to feel maybe angry or sad or confused, just like how I felt. But then I want you to be complete and feel better in the end, like how I felt. Knowing, how my mom is, that sometimes she'll be quick to jump to the first thing, but here they are now, my whole family having to go through this. And I just want them to stay along. And Guru always said, keep in mind, this is your story, not their story. You have to tell your story. And that's all she left it as, and, the biggest unknown was like, man, I hope they get it. And after the show, when I first did it, they got it, and they understood, and we got closer to do that. So that was my biggest concern, like, how are they going to do that? Besides that, I honestly, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid to put my story out there. I wasn't afraid to put my spirituality out there. Like, I always saw it as, well, I'm not ashamed of Guru and what I learned from her. I'm like, why wouldn't I put my story? It's like, how can I not put her?
That's like you walked into a gold mine. Why wouldn't you want to share
not even that. It's not the gold mine. It's just like, she's a part of my. That's like saying I was born on January 21st, 1988,
and your mom didn't get
by
birth
myself.
To. Yeah.
And there's no vagina that I came out of.
Exactly.
There's no body I came out of, and I'm like, it's just like, boop, I came out.
Yeah,
the doctor carried me. I was like, where's the person that just gave birth to me? So if I have all this growth that I learned from, I'm talking about what I learned through my stuff. Well, who was the person that helped me get to that? Exactly. I'm not gonna say it was just God and just leave it up there, right? I'm gonna say she was a person, and I'm gonna say I learned from my higher power, and I'm gonna learn from everybody else that I learned in life. It's the truth. How can I leave that out? I just didn't see my not big concern was how can I make this funny and relatable, and it was simple. Just talk about what you've been through. Going to her house, the lessons that she put you through. And it was just as simple as that. And I was like, well, okay, cool. And I just wrote it and wrote it and I brought it to life. Because exactly when you watch The Naked Truth, that's all the stuff that was going in my head when I visit her and, these lessons, or if she would send me back to talk to my mom. And then, I just didn't see that as a big concern for me. I'm a storyteller. she's part of my story. My mom's part of my story. I'm part of my story. My brother, my sister, the environment, the music, my guitar.
Everything.
That's all part of my story. How can I leave that out? You know? So, yeah.
So what advice would you give somebody who's young and has all these gifts? They're connected to music or whatever art or whatever it is that they're connected to, and they want to do something for themselves. What advice would you give a young person, like the younger you? What advice, knowing what you know now?
I think I think honestly they really need to have a very serious conversation with themselves, and the mirror will help have that. If you don't want to look at the mirror first, but definitely write out things that you want to do and how you can pull it off, and then look at yourself in the mirror too and have that conversation with yourself. What you really want to do. You really have to think about what makes you like tick, what makes you like passionate, and then go for it and do it. Find positive, creative people that can give you good insight on how to go after certain things, and stick to that game plan and have fun with that. Don't worry what the world is telling you that you have to do or have to be, how to sound, how to don't worry. All that stuff will come because the world is always going to be there and tell you shit anyway. I think you need to start telling yourself shit about what do you want to do. Then go after it. Find someone that can maybe help you a little bit. Like for instance, I always wanted to do comedy, and I didn't know anybody that did stand up. None. But I went online, right? I went online and started Googling. From Googling, I got all this information. From all this information, I ended up making phone calls. By making phone calls, I got led to Sergio Chicong, who said, you know what? Before you do this bringer show, I think you should go meet my boy, Pudge Fernandez, who's like Uncle Pudge, they called him, and he has a open mic, and you should do that. So by me already talking to myself and saying, I'm going to do comedy, I'm going to do it, I took the steps. Feeling whatever I'm feeling, fears and doubt, I just kept on going and kept on pushing. Then I got, looking on Google, got Sergio. Sergio take me to Pudge. Pudge takes me back to Sergio. Sergio tells me about other people that does open mics. The moment you start taking these steps, you're gonna see how all these other steps start coming towards you that you gotta take.
Yeah, you gotta put in the work. You can't let it come to you, or sit there wondering.
Yeah, so, you could wonder for a good amount of while, but then wondering just stays at wonder.
Exactly.
You can't always just stay there for too long.
So, is there anything else that you would like to explore that you haven't explored?
I think I know I can do, like, I always like make fun of myself when I dance and stuff like that, but I always like if I do like a dancing piece, it's not because I just want to do a solo ensemble piece. It's like I want to do a period piece, a period time piece that involves certain dance steps. I think that would be cool as a character and stuff like that to do. And what's another one? I really want to do like maybe some dark, serious roles. Something that I would like to look into. So
that's outside of what you wrote, or you want to write for yourself. It could come anyway.
I think I don't know. We'll see. But okay. I think first, I'll probably write something for me. I really enjoy, writing stuff for me because I know how I work and I know like how I like put initiative to get this done. I don't like the waiting game at times, so maybe I'll create something different out of my league or whatever that I'm like, pretty much, which I think I'm doing now because when I'm writing this new show, it's dark in certain areas, so it will be me exploring more deeper into those things, So I think that, and I don't know, definitely like I don't know if there's a play or there's a piece or acting thing in a gig where, you like when you ever seen like Boogie Nights and there's some, they have that scene where the person's dancing in the thing or like something like that where he has a character, it's a timepiece like that. Yeah. Where, or what was the other one that was on Netflix It was like almost based on the 70s too, and they all was dancing. I think it was Boogie Down or something like that.
It was a series.
Yeah.
It got canceled.
But like a timepiece like that.
Yes.
I would do something like that. I was like, oh,
like you don't have to go gun ho like a whole choreography, but you have there's.
Yeah, and I had to get dressed up for with the afro and then
nice.
the suits and stuff like that. I was like, I would love to do something like that. Nice. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. So I wanted to get to know you outside of everybody else and what people know about you or being on stage. So now we're gonna go to the next segment, and in the next segment, I added a bonus question that you usually have on the show, and this question is for you. If you were reincarnated into an instrument, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's easy. It would be a guitar. Like
besides a guitar.
Oh, besides. Well, you didn't say that.
Okay, besides a guitar, because I know you love the guitar.
Like the trumpet or a sax.
And why?
Because I like to get blown. no, but no, the trumpet or sax. I think, you know, it was something that. So I think, put it this way: when I got into the trumpet, you know, there was my chiropractor who plays trumpet, and I got into it talking about him. He was so passionate about you. Said like he was saying like, yo, you know, every other instrument or whatever, like the piano, the keys and the notes are there. You gotta press it, a sound comes out. You know, the guitar, you play some strings or whatever, you press on it, a sound comes out. You know, the trumpet, you know, or even like the sax, you know, you press it, you blow into it, a sound come out. But with the trumpet, we have to create that sound from within, and we got to use our lips. And I was always fascinated with that. I'm like, that is so true. Like, I can't just, you know, blow into a trumpet and hold on to thing and the one of the nods and something will come out. Like, I literally have to form my whole something with my mouth, you know, and I have to really blow into it, and then something will come out. So I think I would love to come back as a trumpet, because like you can't I don't know, I could be wrong, but I feel like you can't fake the trumpet so much. You gotta give something from inside to form those notes and to press it. And
that's what you have done with your shows and everything you create. You give everything from inside. So technically, everything you've done and put your work on is like a trumpet. So going on to the next segments that we're used to, the first question is, let's look inside. Is there any meaning to life, and if so, what is it?
You know, I really think there is a meaning to life. You can't. I always said, you know, you don't just come into this world to, like, you know, be born and then eventually, you know, have fun, and then you just reach this phase where you come out of college or out of high school and you just work and that's it, and you just have vacations. And I was like, I always felt like, no. You can't just only come to do that. Like, there has to be something more. And, you know, through me working through my life and, you know, learning through Guru's lessons, you know, for me, life, you know, it's really a journey that you have to enjoy and take and make a purpose out of it, you know, and find different purposes for you. It's just not that one idea that you have, you know, of just working or whatever, maybe creating a family. It's more than that. Life is meant to enjoy, to learn, to, you know, to cry, to smile, to achieve things that you never thought you could be able to achieve, to experience. You know, there is a meaning to life that you have to make sure that you make it worthwhile and make it meaningful. So whatever that is to you, you need to do that. So you can't just say this is life and that's it. No. There's so many colors to it. Absolutely. And it's up to you to take those crayons or whatever and color it up.
Make that painting.
Yep.
If you could teach someone in the world one concept, what concept will it be? What concept will make the biggest impact on humanity?
I I think, really just may sound cliche, but at the end of the day, love has so many uh, layers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we learn just to love one another and love
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, learn to love ourselves and then love others, I think that will have the biggest impact on humanity. Because with love, like I said, there's many different layers. You get to learn how to respect another person. You get to learn how to crack jokes on people with love, and make jokes about yourself or the situation. But I think if you really, when it comes down to it, if you're really passionate about love and then using that love for yourself and then spreading that to others, everybody will be like, man, at the end of the day, we are alike. We are relatable. We are the same. We bleed the same thing. We feel the same thing.
And you would treat everyone with more respect.
Right. So, yeah. Love yourself and everyone else.
Cool. And the last question is words from our spiritual teacher. We both have the same spiritual teacher. And as everyone here knows, you've checked her out. You probably had a one-on-one lesson with her, went to her workshop, gone to her website, and she has a podcast, she has an unknown series, she has a blog, she has everything on her website. That's www.guruenlightenment.com, and it will be in the description as we always have it. So when I opened this part of the book, I just opened it and it came to me, and it's from her book, Guru Enlightenment's Guide to Finding the Answers to Within the Unknown. And I'm going to read this piece that came to me. We are smart people. We can tell the difference between what is wrong and what is right, and that is exactly how well we can know ourselves. There are people who choose to stay blind because it is easy for them, and it's hard for them to see the reality of their world. That is why we have so many drug addicts, alcoholics, and suicides. We have people who lose faith, people who run and just can't stop running, people who feel that the world is all about them, and people who feel they need to be cruel. That is not what spirituality is all about. It does not ask you to be perfect because no one is. When we enter this world, we all come with gifts. The power from these gifts allows us to go forward and follow our dreams. However, it also takes strength and courage to fulfill our destiny, and that is why we are here. We need to fulfill our own journeys. We need to realize that we are all powerful human beings. Never give up on your dreams. What do you think about that?
Not only that, like, of course, represents my life and stuff like that, but I think, if you just take my life aside from that, I think one thing that hits me is like, what's right and what's wrong. And to me, it's like, I knew that before I met like Guru, right, and I was led to her, I knew something was wrong with me within, right? And I just, I was having success in comedy, I'm doing things and blah, blah, blah. But I knew something was wrong within me, where I was conflicted with a lot of things, from family, anger, and stuff like that. But it took me to be honest first, before I went to Guru, right? It took me to be honest with myself of like, something's wrong. I don't want to see a therapist. I kind of did that when I was young, in my teenager years or whatever. I was just like, I don't know, but I do want to talk to someone, because I don't feel like I'm not relating to anyone right now, or I feel like I can't talk to anyone. But the first step was I had to admit something is wrong. And I was like, well, I'm just going to keep on going through life, and maybe something will come my way. Meet Victor Tree, and then he leads me to Guru. So what I'm trying to say is, I think if everyone is honest with themselves and take that moment to know that, hey, something is wrong right here, you're smart enough to know that. And you're smart enough, once you make that realization, to then take the next step to go get the help that you need. Whether it's talking to a friend, seeking professional help, booking a session with Guru. It takes you being honest with yourself in that mirror and saying, like, it's okay. There's something wrong, but I know there's a solution out there. There's always a positive solution to everything. And as she goes on and explains more that, we have these gifts inside, and, that we are capable to make our dreams come true. I agree 100%. There was things that I never thought I could something as simple as, well, I didn't know I could do stand-up comedy. I didn't know that was a profession or anything. But friends would tell me, like messages came through them, like you should do it, whatever. Long story short, I ended up doing it. That was a small dream. I just want to be on stage. I just want to try it out. I want to tell a joke. But I made that happen.
Exactly.
And then more dreams started coming up. You know, creating a one-man show. I made that a reality. You know, the dream of I want to be better within and solve my conflicts. Meeting Guru. That was a dream for me. That became a reality. She helped me. You know, so...
all that wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy.
It took strength. It took courage.
It
took facing all these things.
Right. It took me going through the fire.
Yes.
And continuing on and using the strength, the courage, and life is going to keep on testing you. One thing that I did learn is like the more, the more I guess you build up yourself,
the more you get tested.
The more not only that, yeah, you get tested, but how hard these punches will come from life. Because now life is not going to only just hit you with these regular jabs. You already conquered, in a sense, those jabs. You know, it's like, okay, you can keep hitting. So negativity knows how to attack, in a sense. So as you continue to build yourself up more and more, and you learn more and more, you know, those punches will come when you least expect it, or when you probably could expect it, but you don't know the intent or the force that it was hit with until you go through it. And you always have to, you know, continue on and take that time to rebuild and to go forward. But there's always a way out of it. There's always a solution for it, a positive one. And no matter what dream you have, it's possible, but be realistic. Exactly. Like if you never did comedy in your life and you're like, and I'm going to sell out, you know, Madison Square Garden, but you have you never did any comedy, no comedic ability, nothing,
you have
whatever.
To put in the work.
You was just, I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm just saying be realistic. Cut that big thing into like, I just want to do comedy.
Exactly.
And then from there, you get to see him build, you know? Exactly. So I agree with that 100% what you said. I think if by you being honest with yourself, knowing that something is wrong, go out there. You have the power and solution to go, the power to find that solution, that positive solution, get the help, and you're so smart enough to make your dreams possible. It's just you're telling yourself no. And you listen to the world saying, yeah, it's not possible. But you are possible because you coming here was a possibility that you may not make it into this world. But it was possible because you came here and you're alive now.
Well, we wrap up this session, this lovely interview, and I just want to say thank you for sharing what you shared and for always not only touching my life but touching everybody's life, because anybody who you come in contact to, you give them something, you give them a light that they leave with. And you're such a humble, spiritual, loving person. And I just want to wish you all the best in everything that you do. And I love you dearly. And I'm honored to be a partner with you on this podcast and to have been able to interview someone for the first time. So thank you.
If you could tell Wayne that I'm a huge fan.
You could tell him in the mirror.
No, thank you so much for...
and that this is your favorite podcast, of course.
No, thank you so much. That means a lot to me, and I love you so much too. And this has been a great, journey within us, and also journey working together and creating content. This podcast, So thank you for that, and it's been awesome. And I think I just want to say that it's been dope. Seeing people's reaction to when I create and seeing the reactions now when we're creating this, that people are tuning in, they're liking it. It's always appreciated and thankful to whoever checked out our stuff or checked out my stuff, that it's hitting them in the right places, because nowadays the stuff that's being created, I feel it's not so much from within there's tons of people that are creating like that from within, but it's not being showcased. All the things are being showcased.
It's hidden. You have to find it. You have to search it. Right,
and that's something that I'm always doing. I'm always searching for more, music that's different or whatever, and also creative people as well and artistic people. So but thank you. It's been awesome, and it's been like what's that called? weird in a sense to be interviewed.
It feels weird to be under the side, right? You're like looking at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you everyone for checking us out. We will see you soon.
Thank you for checking out the episode. Please help us out by subscribing to our podcast, writing a review, sharing with a friend, or leaving a comment. Thank you. This will help us so much.